when are we going to be completed, 9 and 10? Because it sounds like to me that, you know, you get started good, and in January, February is when a lot of this information hopefully will come back as far as how much is this going to cost and things like that, the things that we really, really need. But I guess my ultimate question is, what is the timeline where we can look for the complete study to be completely finished?
The study is completing in phases. I mean,
I'm just saying, when is 9 and 10 going to be completed?
9 and 10 are just really bodies of work that puts together what we have. If we get, after we finish with economic phase and we realize that we don't need to spend any more money to get a finalized document, we can stop Shaw at any time. Their contract, I do not have a contract with them for 9 and 10. I held that out of it. I don't want to spend taxpayer dollars unless we have to. And there's no reason to have a finalized report if we know it's not going to be feasible, or if we're not going to be able to do that, or if there's going to, or if Caddo Lake really works out the way that I personally think it's going to work out. We don't need 9 and 10. Honestly speaking, I'd rather spend that $100,000 on a project that gives people water, not on a document that or recapitulation of a document that I already have.
So you're saying in January, February, we should know something?
We'll know better, yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Williams.
First of all, I like the shirt.
Thank you.
Yeah, it look like a swag shirt, doesn't it? Yeah, when you get finished. Appreciate all the work you've done thus far.
Thank you.
In your phases on these studies, especially environmental, I'm concerned about the local contractors, especially minority contractors. So Shaw is out of town, and I hope we encourage Shaw to use local contractors. And one of my main concerns is minority contractors. Is any minority contractors a part of this?
Yes. Yes. IMS Engineering is a local minority-owned firm here at Shreveport. I think they're out of Jackson, but they've been here, and they had a pretty good chunk of the. I think Phase 3 was all theirs.
Well, I'd like to see the breakdown of how much the local contractors here are benefiting from a project of this nature. And, you know, we have some serious water problem throughout this parish. We recently got a call within the Acres area about some water main systems. They're so outdated. They're very outdated, and they're busting, and we need to look at a long-range plan and throughout the parish to upgrade in the 21st century. Because a lot of our water mains and hydrants, they're outdated. And I know it's going to be a major capital improvement initiative. But we know many, I don't have that problem in my district, but I know other rural commissioner does, and outsourcing water and purchasing water with all the I-49 commercial infrastructure. One of the most valuable resources we need is water throughout this region. So, I mean, this is something that needs to be done strategically. A long-range process. People are coming, I-49 is here, and up north it's going to be looking like, you know, down south, Shreveport. So we need to be very inclusive in what's going on. So I'd like to study with you more later on the economic impact of it, so we could be on the same page. But anyway, keep up full steam ahead.
Sure, thank you.
Ken, Phase 6 is basically looking at all of the identified resources that we have and trying to find a way to tie them together, cover the area we wish to cover.
Correct. One of the links, yes, sir.
One of the links, okay. But you were mentioned in your 2035 figure, net gain by area, that Bossier City was going to have a surplus. Okay,
that's correct.
Well, given the fact that Bossier has not wanted to participate in this and is not, then I'm not sure where that plays in. Do we anticipate trying to maybe see if we can engage them into working as a partnership to be a supplier of their excess water or something?
I would think so. They do already. You know, the city of Benton, Cypress Black Bayou, some of those water districts already buy from the city of Bossier. those are, those are numbers that are included in this number. So it's there. It's kind of one of those things that, as we progress forward with the district, it's like, look, just like with the city of Shreveport, they kind of need our help too. They're in negative 10 million gallons a day going here to 2035. Well, they're going to need to be a player of buying some water. They need to know that. And this study wasn't based on just needs or capacity. It was based on what their raw water is available. So by knowing that the city of Bossier has a surplus of 32 million of using water from the Red River, that they can serve and they can do that, and it's to get them to the table to somehow. I think they know a little bit about that.
Basically, yeah, the data will get them to the table. Before Mike Strong retired, he was well aware of the fact that the city of Shreveport was going to have a water deficit, and that in the end, whether they participated up front or not, they were going to potentially be the largest end user of the utility district.
Right. So
it's going to behoove them to join us at some time. And you're talking about the extra 90 million gallon capacity at Caddo Lake. Is that excess of what is currently being used?
yes, sir, that is.
So you take that and the increased output from Blanchard, and where does their water come from?
Caddo Lake.
Caddo Lake, okay. And then, from what I understand, it's not real complicated for Blanchard to increase its capacity.
It's not. It should be very easily.
So, I guess what I'm trying to get at, and I missed a natural resource meeting, is that without our grand vision of these $150 million plants and using the river and all that, we have the capacity, the water resource will be available if we can just get it all flowing together and pool it to where it needs to be without having to go to the river for the utility district. Is that pretty much what you found out so far?
That's how I'm feeling, yes, sir.
And that's much cheaper than having to go beg the feds for money. They don't have to build $150 million plants. And
we should know some of those numbers after phase 6. We should know some of those numbers of what type of projects are needed, how much those are going to be. I want to say it's probably going to be less than 10, closer to $5 million to help tie the majority of our systems in off our current water.
Well,
a whole lot cheaper than $150 million.
Thank you for your work. I'm happy with the progress. I mean, we've been working on this, most of us know, for 5 years, and we're finally getting at least where we can have a plan to go forward. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Ken, when you figure the city of Shreveport would have a 10 million gallon a day deficit, is that based on anticipated them bringing more parts of the parish into the city,
yes,
anticipated annexations, or the current?
With them growing just as they normally would at their normal pace, the growth patterns were created. It was, if you want to read it, it's very interesting how they came about of calculating the population growth and how they, and in which format and categories and corridors and stuff that I'm not really in on. Derek could probably speak a lot more about that than I could, but it was a lot of great information on how they calculated growth, and it was the city to grow at their normal pace, do their normal annexations, as well as what they did is they looked at one of the maps here is of the watersheds. They took to determine what Cross Lake's watershed is, plus the pumping capacity is from 12 Mile Bayou into that, and they determined it's not necessarily the commissioner, back to your question, but it's not necessarily about the population, it's about what the raw water availability are versus that population. And they realized that they're going to be 9.9 million gallons a day in the hole, not able to supply that. So they're going to have, in a normal average day in 2035, if we don't, continue making strides and progress, they're going to be out 10 million gallons.
So that must include the annexation of a huge part of southeast and southwest Shreveport, because our population growth has been almost zero for the last 20 to 30 years in actually the city of Shreveport. So where are all those extra people coming from?
Well, and again, I'm not versed on that phase. I could go back and provide that information. They had a lot going up north through the I-49 corridor. There was some growth there, and there's a lot of growth in the south, especially now down by in your district in the port and Commissioner Escada's district down there. So, but I couldn't speak to, I don't think they got into the actual annexation side of it. They just showed, growth patterns, and they focused a lot on schools. They said if schools would grow here and do that, there would be more there. They looked at that quite a bit as well.
Same thing here. In the last 20 years, the schools have probably decreased by 10,000 students. So I'm just,
Follow up on that
annexation,
question when you get finished.
Well, I think they also went back and looked at water usage per person. They adjusted that number, and I want to say it was like 1.9 million gallons a person, and I'm just going that off the hip. It's pretty close to that number, is what they figured it'd be per year, and that's, the number's kind of funny, because you look at it, you're right, the growth for cattle really didn't grow. But the actual consumption of water per person did, based on businesses, based on a lot of different other types of factors of past history. Bossier, actually, I think they actually have numbers where by 2035, their growth numbers were significant, and their growth, their water per person was a lot less due to the business, due to the lack of activity like that.
okay, I've got some other speakers if you wanted, but just jump on that.
On the city's thing, first of all, can we have a copy of that phase?
Yes.
Of the study so we can read it? But I thought, I heard you say that really, more than speaking to annexation and population shift, that this was about the diminished capacity of Cross Lake in the future as it continues to silt up. Is that not the driving factor behind the city's deficit?
That's a big portion of it, yes, sir.
That's another thing we have to consider. I imagine this was done before we even announced Bentler Steel, okay? And what's the figure that they were going to use daily was mind-boggling. And that's city water, is it not?
It is, yes, it is.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Wilson.
Again, could you address the southern part of the parish? We talked about Caddo Lake of the north. What are we going to do or looking towards for the south part of the parish?
You know, I think that's a really good situation, a really good question. We haven't really addressed phases of the parishes yet, but for me, looking at it from someone who's been invested in this for 5 years now, I see opportunities still by bringing Caddo Lake water down the I-169 corridor down into Greenwood, and then from Greenwood down into Waterworks 7 and Four Folks and some of those areas, even in Wildwood. They all have connectivity. They're all within a couple feet or a mile from connecting to everybody. It's a matter of getting them connected with some pumping stations, probably some chlorination. They're going to need some chlorination all the time. And then it's a factor of just trying to help all of them work. I know Four Folks in Commissioner Smith's district is already working with Randy Mouton in Water District 7 to try to get them to take it over. You know, they're wanting to do that. It's just a matter of working it out. And we need to kind of help them, hold their hands, caught them a little bit, and try to say, you know, this is right for everybody. Let's work out a situation that's good for everybody, and just kind of be a helping hand and a comforter in all this. It's a tough situation. Those folks are going through some tough deals, and they just need someone there to say, we're here to help, and we're here to listen and point them in the right direction.
Again, that's one last part of my question. As we go towards the future with this idea, the redundancy capability is very important to us.
Sure.
Because 4 years ago, the city's water system failed, and it shut down almost three-fourths of the city. We didn't have any water, and we didn't have any alternate water sources.
Sure.
So I know we're not responsible for the city's three-fourths system, but we need to have some redundancy capability in case somebody's system failed,
Sure.
we can still exist.
And then that's being looked at as well, a little further down.
Okay.
I think, to me personally, the city of Bossier has the alternate water source, which is the Red River. They're already connected all the way up through Benton. Benton wants to get out of the water system with Bossier. They really want to buy water from Blanchard, or they really want to buy water from somewhere else, and we have to have connectivity across the lake, across the river. That's coming. I know that's happening, whether we have a play in that or not. So once that happens and you have some connectivity, it's just a matter of, hey, City of Bossier, we need some help. And you know, they're not going to leave us in a bind if there's help needs. It's just a matter of pumping water around and working with everybody. To me, that's what I see the utility district is. It's not really a ultimate, you know, power overseeing everybody. It's just you know, let's come to the table. Talk about yes, a resource sharing. That's a perfect definition.
Okay. Thanks, Ken.
Mr. Smith, I want to thank you, Ken, and your whole department. Y'all have done a fantastic job of showing us not only what was doable and what was possible.
Thank you.
And I have to compliment the commission for choosing the Shaw Group, because they were the right people to work with, and this is all honestly doable and for a heck of a lot less cost than I certainly thought about, and probably you too. And he's exactly right. Down in my part of the district, just getting the systems I have connected together. Yeah. It's the same thing up in your area. So it's really an exciting thing to do, and it can be done, and we just got to keep on doing it. Thank you, sir.
Thoughts?
2035 will be here before we know it.
No doubt.
You know?
We'll be.
For some of us.
I'll come see you wherever you're buried.
Your son.
You know, something that goes back through my mind is the city and their annexation, and the form of annexation. And Joyce knows this firsthand because she was with us and she was with them. We do all this work and we tie all this in. What happens to us and our cost and our revenue sharing when they basically come in and annex an area that we've already laid groundwork to and put money into? Where does that go?
Those are gonna be some tough situations. Exactly. The biggest question will be, does the parish own any of those water lines that are there? I wouldn't expect that we would. Excuse me. Most of the time is like if you're going to annex into like one of you down in your area, you may have Wildwood or Water District 7 or some of those water districts down there already in place. Those aren't, we may spend some money to help those folks have connectivity so we can shuttle water around or do whatever. It's all going to be dependent on what happens to those water districts. Now, if they stay in business, that's so good. If they're not, then the city is going to have to somehow work out agreements with those. And we're going to have to kind of have some sort of agreement up front, understanding. But we're working pretty closely within the city limits. We're going to have to be very careful on how we're going to manipulate, probably early on the early end of it, and then work out those details before that situation happens. But I can assure you, when they're ready to go to annexation, they're going to take it whether we have a say-so on or not, and it's better for us to be up front and realize maybe we shouldn't spend investment that is so close to where it can be annexed.
Well, and see, that was my main goal, was they'll wake up one day and they'll say, this beautiful new subdivision is going in, multi-million-dollar houses, well, we got to have it.
Right.
And within 6 months, George's shaking her head, within 6 months, oh, guess what, we're going to go ahead and annex that, and the parish is left holding the bag. I don't want to see us spend money and do this without letting them know first. If they want to do something like that, they're going to have to owe us. The attorney just told me we will have the mineral rights. So,
You sure about that?
so that's good. But that's just something I just got in the back of my head because I know how the city is and they don't care. They'll just wake up one day and say, let's annex that division.
Those are things we'll have to work through.
Okay, thank you.
Just a couple of questions. I know the city is not participating in the study, but obviously we're looking at it from a regional approach to determine what we can do to provide, water to all of our citizens in Caddo and Bossier. Is that pretty much true?
That's right. The city did participate by helping us with information. They opened the books, they were very open.
But they didn't give any money. I mean, we're the ones that, okay. And then the next thing is, it looks like Caddo Lake is, a viable option, which, most of the little towns, Vivian, Oil City, Blanchard are getting in the water, but I'm assuming that you're looking at, or have y'all thought about, I guess there's other municipalities that are taking it from Texas side. What's that going to do with the drawdown? Because I know that the lake gets very, very shallow, especially the summertime of the years that, in Vivian, we've had a hard time getting water, and maybe because of where our intake is, but, I've always thought Caddo Lake would not be a viable solution for a long-term issue, especially you got the issues of Giant Sylvania, and then even the city of Dallas and Fort Worth talking about, hey, we don't have any water, we're talking about going to Sabine. What if they start talking about bringing it over here and go to Caddo Lake? If they start taking water from Caddo Lake and that draws it down further, have y'all looked at that? Have they thought, that's got to be looked at.
We've started those conversations, and what we have found with the Caddo Lake Compact was exactly what you said. Right now, Texas we take 8.5 million gallons a day, which is way within the limits of the Caddo Lake Compact. The way that it was originally drawn up, it was never ratified by the states, and therefore never ratified there.
Right.
There's some legislation now that's the Red River Compact kind of oversees it, but it really doesn't narrow it down, and it says that we can have somewhere about 160 million gallons a day, which was based on a study that says this is how much water that's split evenly between Texas and Louisiana. Currently, Texas they take a lot more than Louisiana's 8.5 million gallons. There used to be a power plant on the Caddo Lake that used to circulate water. They had a right for something about the neighborhood, about 80 million gallons that they could use and reuse, but they were just taking it. There was a little bit of evaporation. They were putting it back in. It really wasn't a big factor, but going forward, Texas is a big player, and they're taking probably 4 times more than we are out of Caddo Lake right now, and going to continue to until we can have a document that secures our water. Right now, they can do that, and then they can go and sell that water. They can sell more of their capacity, and we have no way of stopping them. You know, remember last spring down in Toledo Bend?
Yeah, we remember all that.
Same type of stuff, but they actually have it written, you know, you can't do that unless you buy it from Louisiana, and, well, right now, there's not, that agreement doesn't really exist. There's a little bit of language under the regular
It sounds like
contract.
something needs to get straight on.
It does, yes, sir. And at that time, the water, according to the studies, would still be enough for us to be able to take about 80 million gallons a day extra after, you know, you mentioned that your water rose, that happens up there in some summers. There's still enough capacity there as long as we can protect what is ours.
Or a year?
A day.
I just, you know,
A day.
I just don't see that.
Plenty of
It's
water.
there.
I know, I just, I've seen it get low, I just,
It's a
it
lot.
seems like it would get dried up.
Lot of water.
It's a lot of
Caddo
water.
Lake's not a deep lake, you know.
It's not, and it's the watershed, the watershed's pretty large, but its majority is from Texas. When we first started the information on Caddo Lake, I'll be honest, I was a little concerned, because I started, you can see on one of the maps, there's a watershed analysis there. Well, like 85% of it comes, and I always read that whatever water that you put in the lake is yours. Well, somehow, so far through the Red River Compact and a little bit of the Caddo Lake Compact that I've seen so far, it's actually splitting the water in half, even when the majority of the water is coming from Texas. That's why that's why it's imperative now that we go ahead and try to lock this down so we can keep that water. Otherwise, I can see a new study being done. Texas have done a couple studies where they're saying, hey, that's our water, we need to keep it. Nothing has just ever stuck, and nothing's ever passed through the Caddo Lake Commission there. So it's just a matter of trying to do that and secure our water.
Okay, thank you, man. Thank you, Ken, good job.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Mr. Thibodeau, we have one other report for you, sir, on Fort Wade.
All right.
Mr. Kevin, would you come forward? This will kind of give a little update on the facilities out there in Heathville area. And things are moving kind of fast. The state has already begun taking out their resources, the generators and other movable items from the facilities. So we'll be getting this thing in short order. Pierce.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, Mr. President. Just real quick, I'm going to bring you up to speed on what we got going here. Made a couple of visits out there. Put some pamphlets in front of your stations. Forge Way is a 720-bed facility. It sits on 122 acres. It's got approximately 23 buildings at this time, although some of the smaller ones I believe the state is going to be removing. It's around 148,000 square feet. It has a very nice 50-bed medical building they call their skilled nursing unit. That was constructed in 2006. There are also 5 staff houses on the acreage, and those total around 8,300 square feet. It has its own water well system. When they're fully operational, that supplies all of their water, and right now there's really only about 8 people that are in the facility. I believe it's been closed, as far as prisoners go, since July. There are 8 administrative staff currently working there, and the warden anticipates that they will be out by February. Now, that's his guess. They haven't received a firm, concrete date from the state, but they're anticipating February when they'll be gone. It also has its own wastewater treatment system that when the system is fully operational can take care of the whole complex. It's quite a production. You have to have certified and trained personnel to handle that and do state testing on the thing just about every day. In your package there is just some projected costs to maintain it. Just some little bit of electricity, natural gas. Don't have any cost for water because it has its own system. And we basically, while it's unoccupied, just shut everything down. The electricity and gas is just to maintain in case we get some nasty weather, to keep above freezing in some areas and a little bit of humidity removal during the summer. The biggest cost is right now is insurance. Our current insurance carrier doesn't want to touch it because it's unoccupied and there's not a use determined yet for it. And so there's a cost in there projected anywhere below in the $40,000 a year to $60,000 a year for insurance. So those numbers are on there. And we also put in there to just projected one-time setup cost to put a camera system out there. It's just optional, something for you guys to think about and look at. And all those numbers are in there. And as the slideshow's going, we've got lots of pictures. I didn't put too many of them in your packet there.
So Kevin, the camera system gives us the capability to remotely monitor?
Yes, sir. That includes a T1 line, internet line, where we can access the camera system from the courthouse. And that would allow us to just kind of keep an eye on the place without having to drive out there all the time. And that's just optional. That's just something for you guys to think about if this does come to pass. Are there any questions I could answer for anyone?
Ms. Lynch?
Yes, is this already in our budget for next year?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am, we haven't gotten this facility back yet. We would have to change our budget to reflect what's being told to you today.
Can you just amend it later?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thanks.
Mr. Epperson?
Kevin, we haven't basically done an evaluation or an assessment of everything out there. There may be something that may be salvageable, or that we could maybe turn a profit. You know that sanctuary, that church they did is brand new.
That's right.
Yes,
You know, it's a possibility if we take that razor wire and all that stuff from around in there, we could possibly lease that out.
Yes, sir. It's a very nice.
Pay those costs. But in the meantime, I wouldn't be in too big of a hurry to get it back now. Let's let the state kind of put that in their budget for 2013, and we just tell them we still analyzing.
Yes, sir.
But I think we need to do it, and then we were out there that day, and we have those homes, and we
Anybody in the homes?
Yes. The warden is in one, I
The
know.
warden is in one, and I believe their maintenance guy still lives in it.
Right, and see, once they leave, then that's something that we could possibly put on the market too, that will help defray the expense of us having it, because irrespective to that cost, so we may be looking at about $99,000 for 2 years, right?
Yes, sir.
For the 2 years. And, well, another question I had is, okay, we own that facility prior to the state coming in, right? So how did we monitor and security and all that at that point?
It was an active jail.
Pardon? Oh, we didn't have all those buildings.
Well, it was an active jail.
It was active? Okay.
Yes, so we had active, less facilities, but it was active.
All right. And the camera just probably wouldn't be necessary, right? If we didn't use, we could put up some kind of good structured barrier, because we don't have any monitors, anything out at the parks or nothing, do?
No, sir.
The park coming in, we don't have no camera out there, right? And,
Is this an option that
Yeah,
gives us
just food for thought.
Okay, all right.
capabilities to monitor?
Okay. All right, those were just my concerns, but I think we're on the right track, because I don't think we need to leave it in the hands of the state. And hey, we got some good-looking timber out there too, right?
Yes, sir.
Which could defray some of the cost.
It's nice, it's nice ground.
So we got some option that it won't be a burden on us. I'd rather see it in our hands.
State of Louisiana.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have.
Sir.
Mr. Cox?
Now, the question about the houses has been answered, but if possible, I'd like to take a tour out there one day.
yes.
Could you set something up like,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We can get you a permanent stay out there.
hey, you got enough rooms out there? This is a facility that we can make work for us. And we got some areas, juvenile may look at it, something that we can probably tie into out there and years down the road. Who knows?
Folks home out of it.
So, thank you, sir.
Yes, Clay?
The 90,000 figure for 2 years that Mr. Epperson was referring to, that's insurance?
Yes, sir. The low end of the insurance is $40,000. The insurance company is currently trying to work it up and get us a more firm number, but that ought to be fairly close. The high end being 60, so.
Okay, I'd rather go high end, and then you know what you're looking at. So 120 for 2 years just for insurance. What's grass cutting alone is that facility going to cost us for 2 years?
For 2 years, you're probably looking at,
Said 500 per month.
What's it in-house?
How much a month?
well, it's $500 a month for the inside part, and that's with the Parks Department just cutting it just enough to keep the critters down, so to speak. The outside part, you're looking at 17, around $2,000 a year, so you know, that's,
8,000 a year.
Yes, sir.
Combined
It's goats.
gas, okay.
and that's not keeping it finished cut, that's just, knocking it down, so to speak.
What is the, going to be the estimated, just general utility cost of what you'll have to keep running out there? Have you looked at that number?
Yes, sir, around $500 a month for electric and gas. Like I said, we just want, if it gets real bad cold streak, just run it, eat a little bit.
Okay, personnel doing maintenance, I mean, what's it gonna cost, what's the annualized cost to operate it, for us to take possession of it empty?
I'm sorry, well, I hadn't looked at that book yet. I got the book just sat down right before us. I hadn't.
Around $80,000 a year, sir.
$80,000 a year, so it costs us $160,000 a year to take early possession of it with nothing going in it. And then we can offset that cost, as maybe Mr. Jefferson suggested, by renting those houses, renting the church.
Church.
Yeah, well, you always need from another one of those, I guess. Cutting some timber. Okay. I think maybe we could put it in the hands or talk to maybe a commercial realtor about this facility too. Make a heck of a rehab center, campus, or a private corporation that takes troubled youth and does these boot camp type environments or something, you know. But that's your hard number.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Lynn? Kevin, Clay, or Mr. Wilson, y'all might know where we stand on this. The state of Louisiana was looking at shutting down one of the juvenile detention long-term prisons. What type of communication have y'all had with the state of Louisiana as far as turning that into a long-term juvenile prison?
We had a lot of discussions early on, and they were trying to find something within the city to put in access, and that was not a play at the time, so we ended up engaging in that discussion.
Is it too far out, or would that be, it's just too far out?
Too far out, not on the bus line, and they were trying to find something more urban.
But where they are right now is Monroe.
Right, but they have access to transportation and things in that area.
But the youth of Caddo Parish and Bossier Parish and Webster Parish and DeSoto, they go to Monroe, don't they?
I believe so.
Well, that would be closer. I mean, it seems like we have a good argument that though it's not within the city limits of Shreveport, it's a whole lot closer than Monroe, and then also possibly it could be better run than the facility in Monroe. Hopefully.
If I can ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Since you're posing that, is we need to define what we're going to do with the facility. If it's our intent to remarket it, as you say, to some other similar use, then we can do our RFP, put that out there. But right now, we need to know what we intend to do with it. Because I'm being asked that question a lot.
Personally, I would like to think if we don't have a use for it today, I would hate to pay for it today. I'd like to, I'm just one vote. I mean, I would love to take possession of the facility, but at the same time, I'd like for it to pay for itself or at least serve a purpose. That's all. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Bowman?
I almost forgot it. Commissioner Apperson had basically asked one of my main questions, which was the church. Are the pews and all that stuff still in?
They are right now. I cannot promise or guarantee that they'll still be there. I believe the state's scheduled to remove a lot of stuff.
But that was one of, for instance, remove all the contents that's inside.
If it's not concreted down, I think they got plans on taking it.
Wow. In addition to that, I know the bill came up as far as the security camera, which is really a small amount, 20,000 when you think about it, and then in comparison to all the copper wire I just saw on one of them, that's really in demand right now. I'd hate to see, that stuff like that really take, unless the state takes that too.
I don't believe it. Well, I'm not going to guarantee, but I don't think it will.
Never know about that. Okay, that's all.
Mr. Epperson?
I yield to Mr. Smith.
All right, well, I got Mr. Williams.
I think
Mr. Wilson had mentioned us going out there and taking a tour of this facility.
We can arrange that, sir.
Since it's in my district, if you allow me to do that, I promise you that I will look after, bring it back to you, and I certainly will bear the financial interest of the commission first and make sure that we can get every dollar we get. I fool with properties every day, not that I know about prisons, but I'll watch out for us and bring it back to you or anybody else that wants to go, Mr. Wilson.
Sir.
Mr. Williams?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Personally, I'm glad to see the jail shut down. I'm sick and tired of seeing people being locked up in warehouse and jail. We rank #1 in the nation per capita in America of people being locked up in the state of Louisiana. When we should be trying to rehab and turn this maybe into an acute care facility, rehab facility. A lot of people in our community needs help. And some of the comments that's been made to continue to try to find room for inmates just don't set well with me. It ain't working. Locking people up ain't the answer. And most people locked up look just like me. That's why we don't have, that's why a lot of our young African-American males with all these old crazy laws on the book, these old antiquated laws need to change. Some of the revised statutes in this state been in this state for almost 50 or 100 years and they haven't changed. Get caught with a marijuana, you get all these charges on your head. No wonder we got so many people warehouses and locked up. It's a new manufacturing, the way to make money. And most of the people, like I said, look like me. And I'm sick and tired of seeing people being locked up, chained down like they dogs and animals. You gotta have a better rehab. Maybe we can turn it into a long acute care facility. Like hospital, it was said it was a hospital for the elderly, correct? Find some of those, that's what we need, a rehab. In the private sector, they're looking for facilities where they don't have to come in and do a lot of infrastructure to do that. I used to work in a rehab, I know, so that could be something you can reach out to in the private sector for a long-term acute care facility. That could be something we can look for. It's a great return on our investment. But I'm happy as HELL that we don't have another jail. Thank you.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes, sir. Commissioners, it would be helpful to the administration if you can give me some directions on proceeding with the state, because we intentionally slow roll this discussion with the state because we didn't know the unknown cost of getting it. At some point, they're going to be calling me back saying, okay, we've got all the stuff. What do y'all want to do? Do we want to move forward and acquire the facility? Or we want to continue to delay in getting that thing, getting back?
Wilson, I would suggest that we tell the state to hold on to what they got, and then perhaps in January we can have if not a separate meeting, a separate time just to discuss that.
Okay.
But we don't have a lot of other things on the agenda, and I'm sure they can wait till January or February or whatever. And at the same time, I would really know for them, just what are you going to take out of there? Are you literally taking everything that's not concreted down? Or because that can give you as big a mess as not taking, as tearing the buildings down. We need to know what they are taking.
This is a good point.
But
we had a discussion with them.
Let's do it maybe in January or either a separate issue, and then we can. Just tell them to have a Merry Christmas, we'll call them later. Ms. Bowen?
No, sir, I withdrew.
Okay, thank you.
In our report, sir, this last couple items, this reminder Parish for Tots will be coming up pretty soon. And also, this week, Ms. McGee asked me to share with you all open enrollment for healthcare, dental, and life insurance. So any commissioner desire to have that. Any day this week, Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday. If we delay it beyond next week, this week we'll have to do a waiver from you all saying you don't want to participate. So you have this week open enrollment for insurance, health, dental, life, any one of those that you'd like to
What's the dental for a commissioner? What's dental for a commissioner?
I don't have the rates, but
Dental.
We had the.
Yeah, for dental, I'm just saying dental.
I believe we got a sheet on it last
it's
meeting.
$40 to $50 for single and $80 for family. For 2 weeks.
Ms. Bowman, I got you down again.
Well, I was just gonna ask a question. Who handles the, claims for the parish? Is it,
Medical health is HR office,
it's what?
is the HR office, Cheryl McGee.
No, I mean, outside, I mean, I know, for instance, that we are, self-insured, but what company, basically?
Benefit Management Services.
Benefit management company.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say Blue Cross.
It's Blue Cross Blue Shield, but BMS and Blue Cross Blue Shield. BMS is our third-party administrator.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that. Charles, let me ask you a question. Are they the ones who basically informed you guys that I had to wait 365 days before they could cover me? I mean, I paid the premiums, yet I wouldn't be covered for 365 days.
No, ma'am, I didn't talk to him about that. That information came to me from Erica.
Where Erica get that information? I thought it was some insurance company told you.
Are you going to answer that, Kip?
No, you're not.
I'm spoken with the answer for you, ma'am. But we know the laws going to change the first of the year.
Pre-existing condition.
Yeah, so we will,
Well, that's where I'm going, and I was just wondering if
Yes,
I
ma'am.
needed to.
we'll have Erica call you in the morning, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Doug, can you represent me? Might have to do a little.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Bowman, we'll have Erica call you first thing in the morning, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Cox, Toys for Tots is when?
Toys for Tots. Is that next Thursday, James? Next Thursday, same place? Yeah,
What date is that?
next.
The,
Next Thursday, right?
13th?
13th, 12th?
13th is Thursday?
Yeah, 13th. Yeah. How are we doing so far, James? Very good. Really good. Very good.
So far, sir, for Toys for Tots, that we have a couple retirees came in and donated brand-new bicycles. The camps, they're bringing in some toys. Collection boxes, we have 3 of them up on the 8th floor. So far, each year, we have surpassed what we did the previous year. First year, we filled up 1 Volkswagen. Next year, we filled up 2. Last year, we filled up 4.5 Volkswagens. And all through the contributions of the employees from Caddo Parish. And so we're on track to do the same thing again. Recently, there was a fundraising for bake sale for Toys for Tots, and they were able to raise $550 to where they can buy toys, brand new toys, and so they'll be presented on the 13th.
Okay. And we're gonna have a follow-up bake sale.
Yes, sir, we will have a follow-up. Matter of fact, so many people enjoyed it to where we have volunteers from the city that have made donations to Toys for Tots.
I know I was there last year, and those cars was full, the floors were full. I think we bought, my company bought 4 bags of stuffed animals and some toys and stuff, and
each year, Caddo Parish has challenged other companies throughout Caddo and Bossier, and we have not been beat yet.
okay. Well, you do a good job on that. I appreciate your help. So, thank you.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes, how often are the insurance rates checked, police?
Every week.
Verified.
Every week.
How often y'all shopping?
How often do we review the insurance rates? We shop,
Different insurance companies?
annually, we go out, well, we don't annually go out for bid, but we review the rates during the budget process. And then we also, last year, we went out for raise. We pretty much, I would say at least every other year, but most of the time we do it every year. Well, I can't say we don't have a process where we do it every year, but we've been asked by the commission every year so far to shop it, and we have.
Okay, thank you.
I think we have to do it every 3. Yeah.
All right, we have any communications, committee reports? Mr. Epson? Yes, sir. I had an opportunity to go to luncheon at East Ridge Country Club relative to compressed natural gas that was sponsored by the Chamber and a number of other groups. The presentation that they made was pretty enlightening and encouraging. Also, I noticed this morning on a news report on the Business Channel that the outlook for natural gas is on the upswing. In the United States, it appears as though we have a 10 to a 12-year edge over any other nation as far as extracting the natural gas through this fracturing process. No one else has the technicality to compete with us at this time, so that looks encouraging. So hopefully we can start profiting off of this natural gas, all this drilling that we have going on. The only thing, the downside, is that the United States only has about 160,000 vehicles that's running off of compressed natural gas. I think Switzerland, one of the, I forget what other European country, has a number of vehicles. So we need to really ramp that up to help us in the market. So that was very encouraging. If I might, Mr. President, I'd like to acknowledge Mayor Frank Stavich. Mayor of Greenwood is present here today. We want to acknowledge him. He's down to visit with us relative to the Shreveport and Caddo Economic Development Authority today. And also, if it would be his pleasure, it would be okay for us if he would like to come up and mention an event that the town of Greenwood will be sponsoring this weekend.
Be glad to. Be glad to have him.
Speed there. Got a good police department down there. Gives you speed.
Some habits are just hard to break and do away with. I'll tell you, we've got one of the finest chiefs anywhere, and he has assured me that nobody gets a ticket, they all earn it. But absolutely, I do have frequent calls along that line, but you know, we've got a great group of officers, and I support them 100%. But on December the 7th, we do have a Christmas in the Park. It will be starting at 7 o'clock. I believe that's right. I've got something at 6 too, but I passed out papers to everybody so that you had it. And we've got a number of activities that will be going on, and any and everybody is invited. And we would appreciate it if you'd like to come out. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Jefferson, is that
Yes, sir, that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Dominic?
I just wanted to, this past weekend, we had Christmas on Caddo in Oil City, and just wanted to thank Larry Raymond and Andre and the Parks Department for all y'all's support that y'all done. And of course, I'd like to publicly thank all the businesses that have supported the Christmas on Caddo and all the Christmas on Caddo organization. It was a really, really nice turnout, just people everywhere. So y'all did an outstanding job. Larry, I appreciate all y'all's hard work. So be sure and pass the word around that we do appreciate all y'all's work, and the Christmas on Caddo organization obviously needs a big clap of the hands for all the work they've done too. That's it.
Spellman.
Yes, I just want to recognize Mr. Clifton Starks, the president of Intertrades and Labor. Say hello.
Good.
Good afternoon. Thank you all very much. Appreciate you. And good evening to each and every board member. Hopefully that we can be some help to you from time to time. Thank you. I guess you was able to hear me okay out in the company, right?
Yes, sir.
Doug, were you able to hear me?
I can hear you fine. You need to be talking to some of the older people over there. He can't hear me.
If I heard you, you can be sure that Greg heard you. And I heard you. All right, Mr.
Cox. Seven Hills will have their annual Christmas parade December 8th. We will start at Safety Town this time. and go around into the neighborhoods and back that safety town. I believe the tentative starts at about 5:30, 6 o'clock. So we encourage anybody who just likes the old-fashioned Christmas parade, come on out and have a good time.
What's your son, man?
Well, give me time, bro. It's not often that my son gets to come down here and watch us. I'd like to recognize Donnie Cox, he's in the audience.
If y'all believe his son, I believe he paid that guy.
And if I ever find that guy, he owes me money.
You're gonna take that from him.
He's a good guy.
Yes, sir. President Thibodeau, Commissioners, I forgot to tell you all, today I officially received Mr. Raymond's notice to retire.
Nope.
Mr. Raymond will be retiring.
Rejected.
That's all you gotta do, reject.
Okay.
Rejected.
He may not listen to me on that one.
We know who it is.
His effective retirement date is December 31st, and certainly it's sad for me to see him go, because he's a landmark for our organization, and certainly there are a lot of things I can say about Larry, but he's certainly been great for our organization. I'm here to see him go.
Name a park after you, man.
We'll make you administrator if you stay.
I'm with you. As long as you're missing my pay, I'm good.
You got my vote. We're just switching.
I think you just convinced him to leave.
Oh, you find it's all right?
Hey, you two guys, let's see y'all after the meeting, okay?
No, I'm serious.
That's why we have no old business.
All right, new business.
New business. Authorize the introduction of ordinance number 5277 of 2012, amending the budget of estimate revenues and expenditures for the riverboat fund in the amount of $100,000 for the year 2012.
Ms. Lynch, second by Mr. Dominic.
What's the information about administration?
It's on the ordinance.
You know,
You say you're amending the budget of 100,000 to the riverboat?
Yeah, Erica said that the numbers are coming in lower than we anticipated, so we have to adjust the budget. That in oil and gas revenue as well. The money is coming.
I got it.
Cash vote, please. Mr. Williams, all right. That's 12-0.
Authorize the introduction of ordinance number 5278 of 2012, amending the budget of estimate revenues and expenditures for the oil and gas fund in the amount of $1.8 million for the year 2012.
So moved.
Moved Mr. Williams, second by Ms. Lynch. Cash vote, please. Sounds good enough. And that's 12-0.
Authorize the introduction of ordinance 5279, amending the budget of estimate revenues and expenditures for the juvenile justice fund in the amount of $250,000 to reduce state grant revenues.
All right, I've got Mr. Dominic.
I will, if it's okay, I'm going to go ahead and englobe all the remaining issues of new business to move to Monday.
Except for one.
Mr. Lobo,
No, whoa.
to Thursday, I'm sorry.
You saying which one?
All of them, all of the new business.
Oh, no, I think we
You want to talk
did.
talk about something?
Which one did you want to talk to, Ms. Lynch?
6, 7, 9.
Might as well just keep going.
I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay. Ms. Lynch, you have a question?
Oh, yeah, on this one, on the, do we have a motion on this one? Juvenile?
No, we didn't get them. We don't have no.
Move to Thursday.
Second. Motion, okay, we have a motion now.
Yeah, I have a question. This $250,000, is that a specific grant?
Yes, ma'am, one of the grant cuts, probation officer, that the state reduced the budget. Is that correct?
It's, we used to have reimbursement for probation salaries from the state, and that grant has been eliminated, and so we don't get the reimbursement for those salaries anymore, and so that's what the reduction is for.
Okay, are we retaining those positions?
Those positions were in place prior to receiving those grant funds, and so they were not hired as grant positions, if you will.
Okay.
We were just fortunate to get those grants after the positions were hired and had been in place for years. And so, we are retaining those positions.
Okay. But how long have we been getting the offset?
Oh, we've probably been receiving that at least for 3 years, 4 years. That might not be the exact time period, but we've been getting it for a good bit. And then they slowly reduced it, and then they just completely didn't renew it.
So this is about the same amount as those 2 classrooms?
No, ma'am. That we have been letting the commission know that our concern is impending cuts from the state unknown, and that's why we were interested in expanding the operational budget over there.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Cox?
No.
Mr. Escobedo?
Just one more question about this, and then I want to have a question that ties into the general budget process. And this is for finance. In view of the state's unpredictableness, volatility, and say financial restraints or shortcomings, have we prepared this budget in anticipation of further cuts?
Yes, sir. Right now, we have grants. The grant year for the state is June 30. And so as of now, we talked closely with the state to see what their feel was for the few grants that we do have left, and those seem to be strong and intact.
Okay.
And so we did take that into consideration. However, we did the same thing last year, and we were told they were strong and intact, and this one kind of...
So they lie sometimes? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Not lie.
Tell us all the story.
No, I call it a lie. So you can call it whatever you want. Story, lie, same thing.
Yes, sir, please.
Authorizing reduction of ordinance number 5280, amending the budget investment revenues and expenditures for the law officers witness fund in the amount of $35,000 to increase the payments to law officers.
So moved. Moved by Mr. Williams, second by Mr. Lynn. Mr. Johnson?
Can someone explain this one to me a little bit more?
The law officers witness fund pays for law officers to be witnesses in court cases.
Right.
They get a flat set to be, once they're subpoenaed to come to court. It's just because the amount caseload that they've had in the courthouse trying to clean up old cases, they've just had a large increase in subpoenas for law officers for criminal cases.
Dealing with Caddo Parish
District Court.
District Court, yeah, any case that goes in District Court where they have, it's criminal cases where they have to have a police officer to come be a witness, the police officer is paid. And so the amount of payments is directly related to the amount of cases that go through the courts and that sort of thing. And so they're cleaning up the caseload. Sorry for my voice, guys.
Say your voice, I got you.
Hey, commissioners, I mean, you know, we have the juvenile committee. We meet once a quarter with the sheriff and all the different agencies. And one of the complaints was that a lot of officers didn't show up. So as a result of us meeting regularly, we kind of tightened that up. So it resulted in a net increase of them showing up, but we had to pay for their services while they're there. And that's what the $35,000 was for.
Is that a statute, a revised statute that we have to pay?
Yes, we do.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I've got Mr. Escobedo next.
Lyndon asked my question.
Mr. Lynch, Ms. Lynch?
Yeah, that was my question. They're being paid to show up, not, they don't get a check if they don't show up.
That's correct.
All right.
That's what I wanted to do.
Mr. Chair, I just wonder, is it revised statute that we pay? It's the law?
Yes, sir. The statute says they get $25 per case, not to exceed $75 per day. And as was stated, there's been an unusually large workload go through the Caddo court this year. There's been more homicides than usual that have been tried. And you see the results of it in the population out at the jail, and that the unsentenced prisoners at CCC are down considerably this year. And it has a lot to do with the fact that they're working cases faster, but that, of course, means additional police officers coming forward.
Cast your vote, please.
You're doing good.
Pass 12-0.
Authorizing reduction of ordinance number 5281 of 2012, proposing amendments to the Caddo Parish Home Rule Charter relative to Article 1 Declarations of Rights, Article 5 Administration, and Article 6 Financial Procedures presentation to the electorate.
Move third.
Moved by Mr. Cox. Second by Mr. Williams. Mr. Epperson.
That's on 5281.
5281, right.
Okay, I'd like to offer a substitute motion. I'd like to move ordinance number 5281 of 2012 for consideration at Thursday's meeting, with the exception of section 3-05 compensation, paragraph D, and article 6 financial procedures, section 6-09 expenditures by commissioners prohibited. Might get a second.
Second.
Got a substitute and can you give us those sections one more time, please?
Section 3-05.
All right.
Compensation, paragraph D.
All right.
Delta. Article 6 financial procedures, section 6-09 expenditures by commissioners prohibited.
All right. We got a motion, a substitute motion and a second by Ms. Lynch. You want to address that?
Yes, sir. As far as the compensation is concerned, realizing once we should take upon ourselves to run for these positions. However, there is a need for us to be compensated. There are a number of issues financial consideration that happen in our life, just like it is in anyone else. If you're a member of the administrative staff where you are paid, you get cost of living raises, you get things for different expenses. So, as I used to always say when we were deliberating the administrative salaries, I was saying that a loaf of bread and a pound of ground beef would cost the administrator the same as it would the lowest paid person on the parish's payroll or a commissioner. It takes gas for us to go around and check on our constituents. I think my district is 118 square miles. Half is rural and half is urban. And as I've often stated, however an individual commission takes care of his or her commission districts, that's at their discretion. But I'm going to work mine. I'm going to address the concerns of my constituents. I'm going to hold meetings. I'm going to go out into the communities wherever they are located, where there are problems, so I can see those things firsthand for myself and make sure that those things are being addressed. And it takes money for me to make myself presentable as I'm invited to different functions to address civic groups or other organizations. I certainly want to go out looking presentable, and I think the constituents within my parish would want me to do so. So therefore, I would not go along with this. As I stated, gas is going up, insurance goes up on us for our vehicles just like everyone else. Of course, we're public servants to a certain extent, because a lot of times, I've often said, we catch about $10,000 worth of hail a month for a salary of about $1,500. So I'm certainly one that believes that we should have some of the stipends that increase our expenses because of the way that we handle our districts. So therefore, I'm against that. And I might say that if the constituents were not satisfied with the way that we handle our job, they got one or two options. They can either vote for us once we run again and get us out, or they can and keep us in. If they aren't satisfied, they can vote against us, and the majority vote to boot us out. And I have not run into that situation within my district. So therefore, I think these two items here would be unwarranted, and I certainly know that my constituents wouldn't support these issues. So therefore, I think it would be fair and equitable that we move forward with the other items with the exceptions of the two that I mentioned. And I ask for your votes. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Williams.
I mean, pretty much what he's saying. You have some deadbeat politicians that don't do anything but come up there and sit down and rock in these chairs. And there are those that really get out of the community and work on the behalf of their constituents. So it's going to be very cost addition to you when you're out doing the things that we've been doing lately. So I think it would be unfair for any one commissioner to tell another commissioner what he can't do at the expense of the Caddo Commission. I think it's unfair even then to even tell another commissioner what he can't run copies of, when he can't do this and when he can't do that. I think that's totally wrong. We all serve at the pleasure of our constituents, our citizens. We all have the same vote, the same power. No one has no more authority than nobody. I don't care if he's the president, the vice president, the parliamentarian, has no more power than I do, other than to run a meeting and facilitate a meeting. To tell another commissioner, I had a problem with the clerk telling me what I can't do. And I know I'm working real hard, diligently, spending my own money. He told me one time, Commissioner say I couldn't run copies off and I couldn't do this. I think that is wrong. We shouldn't be telling no commissioner got no business telling me what I can't do. If that commissioner tell you that again, you tell them to come see me, him or her. You come see me and I tell them what they can do with that. But anyway, they have no right to tell no commissioner. You're not doing nothing. That's on you. But my people in my district need everything. They broke, don't have jobs, streets are messed up, they need fair housing, they need equal opportunity, they need contract, they need a good education. District 3 needs everything America has to offer. While it's an honor to serve in public office, it's very taxing on you. Maybe part-time, but it's a full-time position. I don't live in some of these rich areas where you don't have all the problems I have. Nice home, nice streets. Don't have the crime problem. Surely you don't have to do a whole lot, but I have to do everything to make a better quality of life for the people that live in the Lakeside, Allendale, Cherokee Park, and Stony Hill area. They need everything. And to cut the pipeline, the opportunity to offer them is unfair. And I'd like to withdraw my second and support Commissioner Epperson's motion because we don't need to get in telling other full-grown folk what they can't do when they've been elected by the people to serve the people. And if you're not doing anything, that's on you. You should be voted out of the office. Sitting up here ain't doing nothing, you need to be voted out. Thank you.
Ms. Baldwin? Yeah, this is to go before the voters, right?
Yes.
Okay, and just reading this, it says, including, not limited to cost of living increases. However, just got this notice on those commissioners who would like to participate in the health plan, which is 100% that the commissioner will be paying. And then that doesn't offset anything. I mean, it's not really a benefit if you look at it. I mean, to take that away when you're getting, I mean, when you're paying 100% into the, what do the regular employees pay?
So, the regular employees pay 25%.
They pay 25%. Well, then the stipend that the commissioners do get with the increase, basically for medications and whatever else is needed, but if you're going to get this insurance, then you're paying it at 100%, and now you won't receive any, and that's a small amount, the actual increase per year in comparison to the 500. This is on an individual to pay $550 or more a month for insurance.
Yeah.
And if you're doing it on a family plan, it's 1,000 something. 60. I mean, it's
That's right.
it's pretty steep, and this is, I mean, this is so minor in comparison to that. It's, you know, it's one thing when this was coming up in meetings, but now it's almost like you're getting a double penalty. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Williams?
I can understand Commissioner's argument on the 3.5, though I'm very comfortable with not receiving a cost of living expenditure. What I cannot swallow, it just sticks right here, is to be against the 6-09 and allowing this to go to the public for a vote. And I don't like to read to people, though I feel obligated to read this. And it simply says what anybody would think would be common sense. However, sometimes things need to be in writing. Only the commission, acting as a legal body, shall have the power to obligate parish funds. That seems acceptable to me. Any commissioner or commissioners found by the commission to have violated this provision shall be personally obligated to reimburse immediately the parish any funds so obligated. That seems very fair. If a commissioner fails to do so within 30 days of such written demand, it shall be ministerial duty of the Director of Finance to withhold such sums as are necessary for full reimbursement from the offending commissioner's compensation. And so ultimately, without that, I guess I could just go to a car dealership and say, well, I'm going to drive all over my district and serve my constituents, and I need a car to do that, and so I go and I buy a car, and then I charge it to the parish. Is that legal? I don't think so, and this just simply states that, no, that's not legal. And so where I can understand where someone would have an argument on the 3-5, I do not understand how anybody in the room could vote against 6-9. Thank you.
Mr. Escobar.
Okay, I understand what Commissioner Lynn is saying on this. You know, all this is doing is adding teeth into what's already in 6-09, you know, and for some people that may be necessary, for some people not. It says that no member or a handful of members can obligate parish funds. That's obligated. So you can go out in your district and promise anything you want to. If that promise is fulfilled and money is expropriated or services are rendered without a vote of this body on that item that had not been previously provided for, my question is, how did that happen? That's an administrative malfunction. That can't happen. And if you are crazy enough to go and buy a car, if the dealer's crazy enough to allow you to charge it to the parish without any kind of, you know, I see the intent. It's to give meat to the already law that exists, to provide some beef to it, you know, and a way of recourse. But this has not been a problem. So whether it's in here or not, I don't care, because personally, it doesn't change anything. We are still only allowed what we're allowed to do. Simple as that. So it's just putting some teeth to it. So it doesn't matter whether it's in here or not. My point is, the only question is, do we really want to burden the voters with having to figure this thing out? You know, is it really necessary? So from that standpoint, I agree with Commissioner Epperson that, you know, any abuses are already provided for. It's a question not, do we really want to dogpile on the ballot and cloud it? So, you know, I'm really indifferent about it. Thank you.
Mr. Epperson? Well, Mr. Escobar, I don't understand it, you know, whatsoever. Name a case of some commissioner that was obligated some. I will. I will. And, you know, well, I mean, why didn't, you know, I don't understand that. And I hate for anyone to insinuate, you know, I want to, that's giving the impression that, I mean, you know, if we're not calling anybody out, everybody may look at me and think I'm doing it. And I know that everything that we've dealt with, you go out into the community. If you can handle it, you turn it to the appropriate department. If funds have to be expended, they have to come back here. It'd be 7 votes up or 7 votes down. So I'm still asking for your support in reference to my substitute motion.
Ms. Lynch?
Call for a question.
I haven't spoken the first time yet. I'd like to.
But we can vote on call. Yeah, call for a question, not debate.
Passes. 8-4.
Oh, that's 2/3.
Okay, we're voting on the substitute motion by Mr. Epperson. Cast your vote, please.
passes. Substitute passes, it moves to Thursday.
Next, authorize introduction of ordinance number 5282 of 2012, proposing amendments to the Caddo Parish Home Rule Charter relative to Article 3, Parish Commission for presentation to the electorate.
Move to Thursday.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lynn, second by Mr. Cox. Ms. Lynch?
Is this a term limit?
Yes.
Term limit one? Did the committee, discuss a mechanism whereby there was going to be any public, discussion about term limits from the committee?
No, all the meetings were public meetings, and then when they made their report, it was a public meeting. And this is just, we had a couple commissioners that had an interest in it. It was brought to the Charter Review Committee, and they didn't have any problem with putting it back up since it had been 20-something years since the last vote.
I guess one of the concerns that I had coming out of this vote last time was that, there's not been a hue and cry from the public to say that they wanted to do away with term limits. There was an election a couple of weeks ago where term limits for school board was put on the ballot, and every parish was just overwhelmingly supportive of term limits for school board members. And those are new voters, people, voting for the first time and so on and so forth. It was still, I don't know if I saw a parish that was under 60%. Most of them were, 70 and 75%, just strongly in support of term limits. I just feel like we're still trying to ram this down the throats of our citizens. We've not had any public discussion about it, whether, what are their feelings on it. And I know, we could put it on the ballot and say, let that tell us. But one of the things that I said last time in discussing, and I'm term limited, so, obviously, I'm pretty confident that if we didn't have term limits, that I'd be reelected. But I knew when I took the job that it was for 12 years. And so, provided that I was reelected each time. But one of the things that I said to my colleagues last time was that I was very much interested in this issue being vetted publicly, whether that was through, going into each commission district or going into, North part of the parish, South part of the parish, East, West, going to certain neighborhood associations, something that we could, that I guess for me, that I could feel some level of confidence that people were really wanting this. It wasn't that I wanted it because I don't want to go anywhere. I want to, feed off the public trough as long as I can. But that it was something that actually that the citizens wanted. And I said this when I went to the meeting with the Charter Review. I didn't have an issue with them, moving forward with it, because I know some commissioners feel pretty strongly about this issue. But that's still something that's very important to me, that I think it just needs to be vetted in some type of way, especially given the vote on the school board here recently. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Lane?
I'd like to say ditto with what Commissioner Lynch said. In the last election, the citizens of Caddo Parish voted 73% in favor of term limits for the school board. And I think that we've seen that type of percentage across the board time after time again. I think term limits create an opportunity for someone to either run for a higher office or bow out for a term. I think term limits are a good thing across the board, and I'm certainly in favor of them. That's all.
Mr. Cox?
Well, every time you run, you're on term limits. I mean, no matter who, when, or where. if you're in your last term or second term, and you put your name on the ballot, you're running for the first time. If somebody wants to run against you and knock you out, that's their right. If somebody would like to run for a third, fifth term because they enjoy what they're doing and their district or the parish as a whole or that body as a whole likes what they're doing, it's their right as an American to vote who they want to see in that seat. I've always felt that way and will go to my grave feeling that way. There's too many people right now that you think about the school vote that came up. Okay, I voted against that simply because I've got a gentleman that works in my district who has turned that district around, and I hate to see him go, simply because that's one of the best representatives we've ever had. And so, okay, there's other districts or other parishes in this state who do not have term limits for parish elected officials. So my vote is to see this forward, put it back up to the voters. I plan on having, Ms. Lynch, like you said, I plan on having 2 meetings in my district, one with the Business Association, one with the Homeowners Association, which we have 3 in Southern Hills, and I plan on hitting all of them. And I can tell you that their way of thinking from what I've talked about so far is that they would like their vote counted on term limits. It's been 20 years. We have different people that have moved in, moved out of Caddo Parish. Let this come up again and let the voters say what they need to say. Our sheriff said, you're not voting me, and you're rehiring me, and I think that's what term limits is. If you put that into somebody's wheelhouse, where you say, you got 12 years and you're done, but that person's doing a good job, and the people in his district, his or her district, says they want to keep them, well, term limit says they can't. That takes, to me, that takes their right away as a voter. So that's one reason why I'm glad to see the Charter Review put this back up, and I think it's up to us to say, go out to each district, put your point of view, see how they think about it, and at least give it back to the voters for that one day and see what they say. If they vote it down, they vote it down. If they vote to kick it out, well, those who want to keep running and working for the parish of Caddo in their districts, more power to them. Thank you.
Mr. Epperson, call for the question on the motion.
Second.
Cast your vote, call the question. And passes 11-1.
So we got to vote on the motion. Last motion first is what?
We don't have one.
There's only one.
Just one motion on.
There's only one motion. See a vote on your,
Cast your vote on the motion, please. Motion passes 10-2.
Authorize introduction of ordinance 5283 of 2012, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorize the parish administrator or designee to sell.
Move for Thursday. Second. Moved by Mr. Epperson. Second by Mr. Johnson. Cast your vote, please.
people to sell, goddamn it.
That passes 12-0.
Authorize the introduction of ordinance number 5284, 2012, change the name of GM Boulevard to W.T. Billy Hannah Boulevard.
Mr. President, at this point in time, we'd like to pull this.
All right. That's pulled.
Next, authorize resolution number 68 of 2012 to authorize the Caddo Parish Administrator to consent to the annexation by the Village of Ida, certain right-of-ways within the Parish of Caddo.
So moved.
Passed by Got a Dominic, second by Mr. Williams. Ms. Lynch?
Yes, what do they need the additional right-of-way for?
Jerry going to answer that.
What's the purpose? What do they need the additional?
They're trying to annex some property that is not contiguous to the present town limits, and the only way they can get to it is to annex the road right away.
How much area are we talking about?
Oh, I don't know about their proposed, it could be numerous tracts of land. It could be numerous, I don't know, I mean, I'm assuming, Doug may know further, but I'm assuming this has something to do with I-49 coming through.
I'm not sure,
Or it may have something to do, I know some of it has to do with the water, because Ida has water.
May have to do with the water, so I'm not 100% sure.
Okay,
But they maintain.
about something if we got a vote on it now. I mean, come on.
No, they just send us a request, and, we don't ever ask them what they're annexing it for. They just tell us, we've got people that have petitioned us to come into the town, the village of Ida, and we can't get to them unless we go down your road.
Okay, Woody, can you get us some more information by Thursday?
Yes, ma'am. I'll see what I can do to have someone here. But I know that, the roads, we maintain the roads.
We maintain, it won't change the maintenance at all.
I do understand that, but I mean, I have a map here, and I'm not really sure what, is this the area here, is what area? That's this shadow part you have there?
That's the present town limit.
Okay.
And what they're taking is out of state line. And out of this line.
Okay.
Not presently within the town.
All right.
Get you the information, man.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Escobar, place this on the agenda.
I did.
You don't know. I don't mind it being on the.
I don't mind it on there either, it's something we need to do. I'm just pretty sure that all the charters and bylaws say that we, or the administrator, places items on the agenda. And if we stayed in line with our own rules, then somebody would know something about this and would have been vetted instead of coming up today and wasting our time. And I'm not faulting you, Jimmy.
No.
I would ask the clerk to clarify and make sure that I'm right on our rules and make note of that in the future, please. Thank you.
Cast your vote, please. Believe it's Thursday. Passes 12-0.
Authorize resolution number 69 of 2012, giving written public notice of the regularly scheduled meetings of the Caddo Parish Commission for the calendar year 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Cox, second by Ms. Bowman. Cast your vote, please. Passes 12-0.
Authorize Monday, December 24, 2012, and Monday, December 31st as holidays for Caddo Parish employees. That's 13.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Cox, second by Ms. Baker, Ms. Lynch.
Yeah, I think I vote against this every year, so I want to be consistent. This costs the taxpayers about $200,000 for each one of these days, so almost $500,000. In order to do this, we have a lot of long-term employees who have accrued vacation, years of accrued vacation, weeks and weeks and weeks of accrued vacation, that if they wanted to be off an extra day, could certainly utilize their vacation and not have that paid on the back end. And so I just, we have probably more paid holidays than any government entity in this region. We're very generous with our employees, and I just think we need to, be a little bit more careful about how we're spending taxpayers' money. That's all I have to say about it. Thank you.
Mr. Escobar.
Pains me to agree with Ms. Lynch. I do every year, you know how I feel about this. If this is the way it's going to be, then why don't we take two lesser holidays, do away with them and include these permanently, or permanently include these so we have a true budget picture or actually a bang for the buck of what the citizens can expect, how many days of work they're getting out of it. We have other generous benefits, no doubt. I'm not going to belabor the point, but, I think we ought to deal with this and get out of the way other than make me seem like I'm the Grinch every year, the Scrooge, voting against this. But this is an added benefit and a perk. We do it every year, and quite frankly, this money is not mine to give, and that's why I'm voting no against it. Thank you.
Mr. Cox?
When bad weather hits and we are in. Anytime, Mike.
They get paid. Nobody works for free around here.
I'm not saying nobody is getting paid. I'm not saying anybody doesn't deserve it. I'm saying that when the call is made and our employees are asked to go out and do their job, when we're sitting in our homes during bad weather, during serious fire, any and everything that these parish employees do year to year. Every year this comes up, and every year I'm one of the ones who sponsors this simply because it's needed. And I understand the money situation. I'm not saying it's not right, but I'm also saying, is it right for us to tell these employees, well, while we're at home doing all normal stuff, and it's time for you to get out, your 8 to 5 job didn't make it, we need you to go and do something else. There's certain times that you just got to say, thank you. And this is the time of year you say thank you. I do to my employees at my office. Here's one right now. But anyway, I would hope that each one of you, and I understand what Ms. Lynch is saying, I understand what John's saying every year. And if we have to bring it up to budget time next year and say, go ahead and put this in, well, I'd say put it in and deal with it. But I think we owe it to the people who work for the Caddo Parish because they do a great job. If they didn't do a great job and didn't deserve this, our job would be a heck of a lot harder. So give them 2 days. What is 2 days? $200,000? Oh, I think we have squandered $200,000 here and there somewhere. I hope not either, Mr. President, but I can imagine that we have somewhere. So my last deal is I hope you vote for it. If you don't, that's you, not me. I'm going to vote for it and I hope you will too. Thank you.
Mr. Bowman?
Basically forgot I must have been. I'm sorry, I've always been on the side of the workers.
Amen.
And, that's Christmas Eve, the 24th. It's always, the 24th is the day before Christmas. I just think it's just right and it's fair to do that. And, being mean-spirited at that time just for the sake of being mean-spirited it doesn't matter. I personally, more so now than ever, of course more so now than ever, look at the spirit, the way things are done. And not just being a Grinch and being mean-spirited just for the sake of being so and just because you've always been so. That doesn't matter to me. Just do what you feel is right sometimes and look at, put yourself in other folks' places in situations like this because a lot of times we do things and want folks to look at us and to consider how we feel about whatever. That's, at some point, it needs to be addressed through budgetary process, where you sit down and you say, okay, do a survey. Do you want to give up this holiday for this one? I guarantee you most of them want Christmas Eve off. In comparison to another holiday that they basically get. I just think that we ought to, at least in the spirit of things, until we can fix it as a legal holiday for the employees, go on and let them have it.
Amen.
Thank you and amen.
Mr. Epperson?
Please don't consider me a Scrooge. If memory serves me correctly, I was one of the original ones that we were probably that voted for him to get out back in the 90s. And you know what we had to work with back then.
Yeah, you
weren't around.
I would rather see if we had $200,000, see it go toward lowering the insurance premium on some of those workers. And I don't think that they would consider us as being Scrooges because of those 2 days. Those guys are capable and women are capable and professional enough. I think there's a discretion of the supervisory process that know that they may could work minimum crews based upon the holiday by seniority on utilizing their vacation days. And I too, at this point in time, after nearly 18 years of voting in favor of these holidays being off, I would like to see us look at this in the budgetary process next year. And if there's any way that we can spare another 100 or 200,000, utilize that to lower those employees' insurance premiums, especially ones on the lower end of the payroll. So I'm going to be voting against this today. Thank you.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Chairman, I look at this as a morale booster. People work their hands to the bone for this parish. They're unselfish, they're dedicated, they're committed. A lot of them don't even get paid for what they really worth. And to give them the benefit of having a day off before Christmas, spend with their families. But one of the best things we could do to boost the morale and motivate our employees that work on the behalf of not only us, but the citizens. They do the work and make us look good. I hate to have a disgruntled employee on the Christmas Eve out there representing the parish. It wouldn't be a good sight. But they serve with dignity, they serve with pride, they serve with a smile, they serve with compassion. Because public life is not always glamorous. And to do what they're doing is very commendable. And I know we pay them, but to serve this government and working for the government, you don't make the kind of money you would make in the private sector. So they're serving the public as well. Being a firefighter, I know what it's like to serve. And unfortunately, oftentimes, we forget that we all are serving in that capacity. And you know, Jesus is the reason for the season during Christmas anyway. And we sit up and say the Pledge of Allegiance, and we say prayers, and sometimes I wonder, are we just hypocrites? And it just comes a time when we got to show some compassion and love for our employees, not with our might, not with our mouth, but sometimes with our vote. I just want to say to the employees of Caddo Parish, I'm going to always support Christmas Eve day for you and your family. Sit around the table, eat turkey, and talk about the good old days. That's what it's all about. We come up here and we debate, we argue about issues, but on Christmas, it'll be a time for families. And we're trying to build family values in America. So to not support this day, to me, would be wrong. You do what's best for you in your district or your posturing while you're voting. That's for you. But I would just believe employees, the morale, their energetic, their energy, and their compassion will show their appreciation, their unselfishness, and their dedication by the work that they do for us. Just to say before, I appreciate what you do, and I always support you. Thank you.
Ms. Lynch?
Let me just for a point of clarification, it is $200,000 for each day. And I don't think that I said, well, I didn't say that they could take the day off. I'm just saying use your accrued vacation time to take the day off. The people that we owe, and you know, and I haven't, and I don't really want to go into all of this, but the people that we owe are the taxpayers. Not the people that work for the parish. Not that 400 and something people that work for the parish. It's the 252,000 people that live in this parish. You know, when we're off, a lot of them are off, we're off, they have to go to work. They're the reason that we're here. The taxes that they pay are the reason that we're here. And when our workers are out during disasters and other things, yes, that's their job, but they're supposed to be there because that's what folks are paying their taxes for. There's an expectation that we're going to meet those needs, that we're going to be there when they need us. Like State Farm, like a good neighbor. We're going to be there. And so, I'm not necessarily for, we talked about this, I think it's in our charter. There's no, we're not supposed to get anything extra by virtue of our position. These people have a job, they have a good job, and I think we show them appreciation each and every day. I know this commission has gone above and beyond to support the employees of Caddo Parish. I'm not aware of any morale problems, are you? Do we have a morale problem?
No, ma'am.
For the last 3 years, we've done 5%, up to 5% raises. There's nobody in corporate or any other government entity, maybe except Bossier, that even came anywhere close to that. And so on and so forth. Nobody in this region is having 75% of their health insurance costs paid by their employer, except for the sheriff's department, I think it's 100%. But no other government entity is doing that. So, I mean, I can go on, but I just believe in showing appreciation every day, not setting people up to say, oh, it's Christmas and all of this. I think you give people a false, I don't want to get into the commercialism and all that on Christmas, but it's about showing appreciation every day, and I think that we do that as a body and as a parish. And so I just wanted to clarify that, is that, skeleton crew is an option. We know this is something that we probably need to look at a little closer with vacation days. And I agree with everything everybody's suggestions that everybody has made going forward on this. But I just wanted to make those points of clarification. Thank you, Mr. President.
Ms. Baker?
Oh, yes. Since I've been here, I've been supporting this initiative for the employees when they ask us for the extra day during the holidays. And I'm like, Joyce, this is Christmas time. And I think that they are deserving of that time to spend with their families. And I understand the logistics of the finances and everything that's going on. And also, I really agree with Commissioner Epperson that I feel like, if it's so expensive, that amount of money, that we should look at using that expense to help curtail the premium that our employees have to pay for insurance. But I want to say this, I will be supporting it today, but I do want to put this part in, is that Commissioner Escudé has asked for the last 2 years that we look at putting these holidays into the yearly holidays, and it has not been done. So if administration will take a note of that and 2013 go ahead and put these 2 holidays into the yearly holidays so that we can look at, like he had requested for us to look at, what days you want to give up or what you want to do as far as getting these holidays off, so we won't have to go through this every year. Thank you.
Mr. Glenn?
I'm going to echo what Commissioner Baker just said. It's been asked before, and I want to ask now that 2 other days somewhere in the year need to be swapped for these 2 days. And I know that if you're off on a Sunday and you're off on a Tuesday, that anybody that shows up on that Monday is not going to do a thing. And so, and I mean, I hate to say it, but that's just the way it is, and especially that day. And if they do show up, they're going to light a fire and shoot the bull for about 30 minutes. They might break something, and then they're going to go home early. And so there's really no point in them coming to work that Monday. And at the same time, there's really no reason why we can't find another day to substitute in throughout the year, another holiday to trade out with that, so that we don't have to fight this moral battle every single year over these 2 days. And they might be better off having the day after Tuesday off, so that they're off on the 2nd of January and then work New Year's Eve. That way you catch them bright-eyed and bushy-tailed rather than staggering after a two-day party.
Seen Randy?
You know what you know it's all Mr. Kramer.
You probably said something he says, man.
Mr. Escobar? Ms. Bowman?
Yes, sir. I want to just make sure that everybody remembers as well that, and I know it's been said that, our obligation, the money belongs to the taxpayers. Well, these employees are tax-paying citizens, and in addition. So, we need to, if you're going to bring up things like this, consider that as well. I just think that if the timing is bad right now to start saying we're not going to do this when Christmas is just a few days away now, that's something this commission should have discussed previously as far as the budget and the days, the holidays are concerned. It's certainly my hope that after the beginning of the new year or whatever, everything is put in place, so we won't have to go through this again. But it's just not fair to do it right now, and it's coming right up to the holiday. And I might want to say something when I'm out shopping. I'm ready.
Are those taxpayers, if the ones that live in Bossier, do they pay taxes over here that work for us? Or?
Cast your vote, we don't need to. We don't have to be they live in Shreveport. We're not voting on calling the question, we're voting on the, there's no other speakers, so cast your vote.
I'll vote the same either.
We're voting on the motion. On the motion, correct, yes or no, how are you going to vote? We don't need to call for the question, there's no more speakers. Michael pushed my hand away from the button. That is no. Passes time for. I wouldn't let anybody else get away with that.
You need to reciprocate.
Next we have a consent agenda.
All right. I just have one comment before we adjourn. Tomorrow, should only last, 15 minutes, but it,
I don't think so.
Just hold on, because there have been thousands of opportunities for everybody to get involved in this budget. There have been committee meetings, there have been public hearings, there have been this, there have been that. So all I'm asking is if you do have some changes to make, if you could put it in writing so that everybody would be able to take a look at it. And secondly, I'm going to be sure that tomorrow that the bylaws are followed to a T in case we get too emotional over all this. But I would just ask that if you can possibly make anything, any amendments that you might want to make in writing, it would be easier for everybody. Ms. Lynch?
Okay, but we'll have instructions tomorrow, I'm sure.
Right. And, right, Mr. Jefferson?
I just want to let everybody know that when we be having problems, I don't always be home nice in the bed. During the last flood, I almost drove off in the Cross Lake visiting the constituent, loaded sandbags up on, what's the name of that street? And so I, like I say, I don't know what nobody else does. I take care of it. You can have Christmas Eve off.
After this one. Don't charge us for your bad back.
Development committee meeting.
Good job for you, Linda.